Welcome to Fortress of Faith with Tom Wallace, calling North America to repentance and revival.
Welcome back to the Corner of Truth and Courage. You're listening to Fortress of Faith. This is Tom Wallace. I've been hesitant to weigh in about the war there between Israel and Iran with some of these comments that I'm going to share with you now. But now that the war is over, we're 12 days, this 12-day war has come to an end, the ceasefire is holding. I have some thoughts that I want you to take away with you today, and some things for us Christians to be praying about, praying that God would use this for His glory, but also something there that deals with prophecy. And we're going to be looking into a particular verse in Matthew chapter 24. And this is the chapter that we call the Olivet Discourse. Here Jesus is sitting with His disciples on the Mount of Olives. And it's a beautiful location in Jerusalem. If you ever go to Israel on a Bible Land tour, this is the place we're going to take you for the best view of the Temple Mount. Now, of course, in the day when Jesus is there, the temple is still there. And the Lord has some remarks about the temple. And He's alluding to His death and His resurrection and talking about the end. And the disciples come to the Lord and said, hey, explain this to us. They want to have a private chat with Jesus saying, hey, we're confused. Help us understand this. And so the rest of this chapter deals with prophecy. We call it the Olivet Discourse. It's a chapter that you cannot take in chronological order. There are times that it bounces around. It's kind of like President Trump when he talks. I mean, he'll have a press conference and, everyone's got a question on this particular subject. And then he'll start answering it. And then, man, he jumps over here and this subject there and then bounces over here to the right and now talks about this and stuff. And he's all over the place, right? Well, chapter 24 is a little bit like that. But there are some things that are it's not that it's unclear, but you cannot take it in a chronological fashion because there's some things that he's talking about in the beginning of the chapter that's definitely during the church age and before the rapture, before tribulation period, and so on there. And then there's some things that he's definitely talking about that's going on in the tribulation period, but then he goes back to pre-tribulation period and stuff. So my point is, Matthew 24 has been a puzzle for us preachers and theologians for years to try to make sense of when is this going to occur, pre-rapture, after the rapture, during the tribulation, or after the tribulation, during the millennial kingdom. There's much debate on that, okay? And my focus is on verse 14 because of what's going on in the world right now. What's going on in the world right now, we're seeing some closed countries to the gospel. And what I mean closed, they're closed to churches, Christians, evangelism, the gospel. They don't want it in their country. And if it's there, it's underground. You don't have much legal protection. You're likely going to be persecuted, like Iran. Christians that are there are under great persecution. And yet, though, this country might soon fall. And if it does fall, the Islamic regime that's there, it will likely usher in a new dawn of a new leader, who is His Royal Highness, the Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi, who has already got an interim government prepared to come back to his nation and to restore them back to a monarchy with a republic working with it. If that happens, Christianity will be allowed back into the country. Now, this is huge. When I was in Bible college, one of my main mission professors, was from Iran. That's where he spent his ministry. His church was in Tehran. And so I had some, in my early days, some understanding of missions in that country. And we've been praying to that end, that maybe one day the gospel will return back to Iran. It's a beautiful country, Persia. Islam has destroyed that nation. It's sad to see what's happened. But my point is this. If this regime does change, and let me say this, I know there's been criticism of Trump and Israel for not going further. Why did they stop? Why? Well, they was close to taking out the Ayatollah Khomeini. Why didn't they go ahead and do it? Why didn't they just do the job? And we need to understand that wasn't the fight. That wasn't the purpose of the fight that America had with Iran. We wouldn't mind the regime change. Trump's been hinting at it. We're sending hints. MEGA, he posted something there about make Iran great again, instead of MAGA, MEGA, whatever. What was it? Israel, one of their last strikes was taking out the gates, the doors to the prison where they keep their political prisoners. It's sending a message to the people there that we do want regime change, but it has to come from you. Israel can't make you a new government. America can't make Iran a new government. That's not really the fight. That's not what they went in to fight. They went to end the nuclear program, and they did it. And they did it successfully and took out its top people that, militarily and that are a threat to Israel and to America. And so they went after military targets and went after the nuclear production plants and the evidence seems to be coming in that they've done a significant job of destroying these facilities and setting them back many, many, many years in that effort. And it now could be an opportunity for the people to rise up. They've tried, I know, a couple of times. A couple of years ago, they were hit hard by the dictator. They killed, 1,500 of them were killed and 5,000 of them were in prison. It has to come from within. It has to be grassroots. It has to be from their own people. We're waiting and hoping and praying that there will be an uprising and a revolution will occur and a change of government. And so that may open up Iran. Iran might be open to missions. I'm already talking and making plans to go into Iran when that happens, because when it does, we need to get churches restarted and built in that nation. But I've been talking to you also about another opportunity that Saudi Arabia is about to open its doors to churches. And so two huge Muslim countries have been closed to Islam. Other Muslim countries are open. They do allow Christianity and churches in there and legally protect them. And so, but these nations have been closed, and now they're about to open up Saudi Arabia and maybe Iran. Now, with that in mind, let's look at this verse in the Bible, Matthew chapter 24, verse 14. Let's read it, and then I'm going to tell you what I think this means. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. Now, verse 15 definitely is post-rapture. You were already in the tribulation period when verse 15 comes. Let's read verse 15. When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place, whoso readeth, let him understand. It's talking about something that's going to happen in midway in the tribulation period. Halfway in, we're going to have a time of peace and stuff. Then we have the abomination of desolation. The temple will be desecrated by the one that we call the Antichrist. He will do something of an abomination that was done in the Old Testament. He'll probably slay and sacrifice a pig on the altar in the temple. That's what happened in the Old Testament. That's what they're talking about in Daniel of something that happened during the intertestament periods. So verse 15 is definitely talking about an event in the tribulation period. Here's my question and my point. I believe verse 14 is talking about the end of the church age. And there's going to be a lot of things that will come to an end. The church age that we live in right now, we're in that. But the Bible says that it will come to an end. And when that happens, there'll be the rapture of the saints. The saints will be raptured into glory, will be with the Lord. Then a 7-year period of tribulation will remain on the earth. But those who've not been appointed to wrath will be raptured, and so we will be out in heaven. That is the end of the church age. But what will bring it? What will happen beforehand? Verse 14. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. Two of Islam's most, of the greatest, largest, most significant Islamic nations are about, maybe, Iran being the one that might be opening soon, if this regime falls. Reza Pahlavi will allow Christianity back in that country. So 2 big countries will fall. And there's a third that we're waiting on, and that will be North Korea. That's another country that is closed to the gospel. Now, it is argued, and I agree with this argument. I don't reject it, because I think this, we don't necessarily need to see them open up to the gospel in the way that they will allow churches, because already the gospel's in these countries. We're getting it in there through the internet, through satellite TV, through smuggling of the gospel and stuff. It's already in there. But could verse 14 be saying that there'll be an opening, that there'll be, we call this the harvest, that last harvest. Could we be moving into a time of the last harvest before the rapture? Now, there'll be people saved in the tribulation period, and there'll be a harvest of souls there as well. But this verse 14, is this pre-rapture, and is this the end of the church age? I'm inclined to believe it is. And I think we're seeing significant things that are coming right now. The opening of Saudi Arabia, maybe now the opening of Iran. There could be something that might happen in North Korea soon, and China with that. And so maybe the opening of the gospel there, and that is a fulfillment of verse 14. Of course, we know the gospel's already getting in there through technology and other things there. So, what should we do as Christians? Well, number one, we need to pray, and we need to keep working until the Lord returns, to be occupied till he comes, and be busy sharing the gospel in all the world, and being ready for these missionary opportunities that may be opening up soon, of taking the gospel into these kingdoms. We might be seeing, the Lord opening a way for this last harvest of taking the gospel into countries that have been closed, like North Korea, China. But we're seeing right now, maybe in the Middle East, Saudi Arabia to open soon, Iran about to open soon. And so I'd like to hear your opinion. What's your thoughts on this verse of Matthew chapter 24, verse 14? Do you see this as maybe that last harvest? Is this pre-church age? You may disagree with me. That's fine. Share with me your thoughts and points there. You can contact us on our website, fortressoffaith.com, fortressoffaith.com. Get our email from there, or give us a call and leave us a voicemail, 800-616-0082. That's 800-616-0082. That's going to be it for today. Join us again tomorrow at the corner of Truth and Courage. God bless you.